You're so lucky. How do you create your own luck so that you're a healthy, fit, strong, lean, energetic, you've got a career or business that you love, you're financially free, and you have great people in your life? Do they fall out of the sky in a pretty pink box? No. How do you make sure that you're really lucky so that you achieve all of those things? And this is a very personal message from a very old lady. I get accused every day of being lucky. She's so lucky because I've got a great husband, yes. I live in a beautiful place, yes. I've got 5 beautiful puppy dogs, yes. I've had a career or business that I've loved my entire life. I've never had a boss. I've never had a job I didn't like. I've never had to work for somebody else. I've lived my whole life loving every single day of my life. I'm so lucky, really. I don't believe in luck. I never have. So when somebody says to me, I'm lucky, I always say, no, you have attracted those things into your life. Now, are there some things in life that we become unlucky? And you could say yes. What if I have a car accident? What if I have my house burns down? That's very unlucky. What if I have a horrible disease that nobody understands why I got it? But even those things that I have no control over, the unlucky things, is it possible that if you're healthy, fit and strong, if you're mentally tough, you can handle those unlucky things better? So if I get a horrible disease, is it possible that if I've already got a fit, strong body, even if it becomes unhealthy from a disease, am I more likely to be able to handle that horrible disease? And of course the answer is yes. If I have something horrible happen to my house or my car, or there's a car accident or any kind of accident, if I have prepared for that, it's not lucky to have insurance. It's not lucky to be mentally tough to handle a tough situation. Those things are in my control. And there's a great quote for that. Accept the things that you cannot change the things you can, and make sure you've got the wisdom to know the difference. So I don't want to have a car accident. I don't want my house to burn down. I don't want somebody to steal my bag when I'm out traveling. But that's what travel insurance is for. That's what home and contents insurance is for. That's what car insurance is for. So that you are prepared for the tough things that happen. So if you want to create your own luck, is it possible that, number one, you've got to be healthy, fit and strong, because you can't do anything if you're weak and frail and sick and diseased and overweight and you don't like who you are and you've got low self-esteem. Second is, if I want my life to be great, it's not going to fall out of the sky in a pretty pink box. I have to make it great. So you can say, oh, Ro, you're really lucky because you're an old lady and you're healthy, fit and strong and you've got a stack of energy every day. But I do everything every day to make sure that that happens. Every single day I start my day with fresh air, straight outside into the fresh air and sunshine. Even if there's no sun, I still go outside. Even if I have to wake up before the sun gets up, I go straight outside, fresh air and sunshine. I put freezing cold water on my face out of the tap to wake me up and to create positive chemicals inside my brain. Because when you put cold water on your face, for example, your body and your brain go, what the hell is she doing? I'm in the fight and flight system. So you produce epinephrine, adrenaline and cortisol so that you wake up. So people say, how come you've got so much energy? Because I start my day with an energetic thing. I'm outside in my outdoor training area. I come outside, cold water on my face, fresh air and sunshine. Then I punch the bag, kick the bag flat out on the cross trainer so that my heart rate goes up really high, 100% effort to get 100% change of brain chemistry so that I've got a stack of energy. Doesn't matter how tired I am, how little sleep I had. I don't focus on, I'm so tired because I didn't get any sleep. I can't change the amount of sleep that I had. All I can change is now, right this minute. So fresh air, sunshine, cold water, punch the bag, kick the bag, sprint on the spot. Now I've got a different brain chemistry. Now I'm thinking clearly. Now I can go and attack my day with energy, enthusiasm, and excitement. I call it the 3 E's for a reason. Why would you live any other way? No energy, no excitement, no enthusiasm for life, to me is just, it's literally, pardon the pun, is a no-brainer. I'm not going to live like that. So what do I have to do every day? How do I make myself so lucky that I can be energetic all day long? I don't put crappy food into my body. I don't drink alcohol. I don't take drugs. And I'm not saying whether you should or shouldn't. I'm just sharing with you that I get accused of being lucky. I get accused of being unrealistically happy. But I do all the things to make sure that I can be. I don't drink alcohol because I don't want to wake up in the morning feeling terrible. I don't drink alcohol because I want to be in control of my life. And I don't drink alcohol because I don't even like the taste of it. I always share this. Why would you put something into your body that you don't like? So, Rowie, what do I eat? What do you like to eat? What don't you like to eat? Don't put that into your body. You've got to produce energy. And of course, apart from the fact that all energy comes from the sun, and I can't understand why people don't get outside, breathe fresh air and get sunshine. If you sit inside on your backside with artificial light and artificial air, it's very difficult to have an energetic body. But if you top that with crappy food that's full of chemicals and rubbish, then of course your body's not going to work effectively. If you put stuff into your body, and it's a very simple process, and I bang on about it every day, eat more real food, stuff that hasn't been screwed with by humans. Now, whether that grows under the ground or on top of the ground or on a tree or it runs on the ground, so it's an animal, as long as it hasn't been screwed with, are you more likely to get more energy from it? Because energy from plants and animals comes from the sun. It's a real natural process. The more processing something has, the more chemicals that are in it. And I always have a joke because I've spent a lot of time in the US. Every year of my life since I was 18 years of age, I've been to the US multiple times. And I go to the supermarket just for fun to look at the chemicals that are in the food, because most of the food that's in a supermarket in America, because there's very few regulations on what they can and can't do with their food there, most of the food isn't food. It's just chemicals and colour, which is a chemical, and people are putting that into their body and they're expecting to be in great shape. Well, the outcome of that is it's one of the fattest, sickest, weakest, most diseased countries in the world. The US spends the most money on supposed, and they call it health care. I call it sick care because there's so many sick, fat, weak, diseased people. And they wonder why, if you treat your body that way, you can't expect it to be healthy, to be fit, and to be strong. You'd have to be bloody lucky to live in America and eat the food out of the supermarket. And I'm just using the US as an example because I spent a lot of time there. And I've read the labels on the food, and I've seen the people that are constantly at the doctor, in the hospital, full of drugs, full of disease, and one of the most morbidly obese countries in the world. And you wonder why they are so unlucky. It's got nothing to do with luck. That's just called wrong choice. So there's a great question. What choices do you make so that you can be lucky enough to be healthy, fit, strong, lean, energetic, have a career or business that you love, be financially free, and have great people in your life? None of those things are luck. They're all choices. We choose our career path or our business. I had an opportunity to become a lawyer. My parents wanted me to be a lawyer. They sent me to private boarding school in Melbourne, Australia to become a lawyer. I didn't want to be a lawyer. I wanted to be an exercise professional. I had to go against my family. I had to go against my school. I had to go against my whole upbringing. But I knew what I wanted to do with my life. That wasn't luck. That was planned. What do I need to do to become a top-level exercise professional so I can wake up every day loving my life? Financial freedom is not luck. You have to, you can say, well, I could win lotto and that's lucky. But most people that win lotto are not very lucky because they end up really miserable a year after. They usually end up broke, even if they win millions of dollars. Because if you don't have the headspace of a wealthy person, of a financially free and secure person, then you are not going to be able to look after your money effectively. That is all a choice. It's not luck. So yes, if you want to win lotto, you've got to buy a ticket, but then you've got to get financially planned and educated so that if you do get lucky enough to win lotto, you know what to do with the money. I think it's much easier to create your own wealth, and that's a really simple process. A product or service that you are passionate about, a product or service that you keep getting better at, and then something that adds massive value to the world is the luckiest way to create wealth, and it's got nothing to do with luck, obviously. Now, sometimes in business we get lucky and sometimes we're unlucky, and we've had some horrible things happen to us in business that you could say are bad luck. But you have to be there for it to be bad luck. You have to have been in that situation for that to be created. And for most things, you can, if you wind them back and have a look at why it happened, it didn't happen because of bad luck and it didn't happen because of good luck. It happened because of either hard work or a lack of hard work and a lack of discipline. And that's the kind of person that I want to be. I don't want to consider myself to be a lucky person. I'm very privileged that I found the right education, but I had to go find it. I'm very privileged that when I made stupid mistakes, I didn't sook, whinge, moan and complain. I learned from my mistakes and got better because of them. I'm very privileged that I've had some great people in my life. But if you're a lousy, stinking, horrible, nasty, gossiping person, don't expect great people to want to be in your life with you. I've had some great business advice from very successful business people. But if I was a horrible person, they wouldn't have wanted to give me advice. If you think you know everything, this is a classic example and I deal with it every day. I'm an old lady and I deal with young people who think they know everything. And they're rude and disrespectful and they're know-it-alls, and they treat people who are successful with Like, I don't care how successful you are, I know more than you do. Well, you can't expect the world to be nice to you when you have that kind of attitude. I love my blonde hair, and I always share that. I keep my blonde hair, even though I'm an old lady and my hair's probably grey, but I keep it blonde because when you've got blonde hair, people treat you with... they treat you like you don't know anything, and then if you're open to learning, you can learn more. And I want to learn every day. I have been studying the human body, anatomy, physiology, exercise programming, nutrition, how the brain works, neuroscience, every single day of my life since I was 13 years of age. And all I know is that I don't know very much. To have an attitude of, I know that already, you don't need to teach me, I think is not only disrespectful and irresponsible, but it's very sad for the person that says that stuff, because how can they learn? You can't learn if you think you know everything. The biggest barrier to learning is already knowing. So the luck of healthy, fit, strong, lean, energetic, love your life, have a career or business that you love, be financially free and have great people in your life is not luck. It's a choice. The last one, I think the most important one, because we get great value from the people that we bring into our lives. I get great value from my puppy dogs. For me, they're four-legged furry people. But my dogs wouldn't want to be with me if I didn't look after them, if I wasn't respectful of them, if I didn't feed them, if I didn't exercise them. Why would our kids like us if we don't treat them the same? If our kids aren't fed effectively, if they aren't exercised effectively, if they don't have a great education, if they don't have a great living example from the adults in their life, why would our kids respect us? Why would they? If you're a horrible person, and I use this as an example, I've got a brilliant husband. He's funny, he's intelligent, he's an elite athlete, he's a top-level businessman. He's one of the best people I've ever met in my whole entire life. Isn't that a gorgeous thing to be able to say about your husband? But I wouldn't have attracted a man like that into my life if I was fat, sick, weak, lazy, miserable, moaning, complaining person. K-Man's one of the most positive people I've ever met. Imagine if I was a negative, nasty, gossiping, horrible person. He wouldn't want anything to do with me. That's not luck that I've got a great husband. Two great people who are passionate and powerful and love life and love what they're doing are more likely to be attracted to each other than two horrible people. And, you know, we've seen some horrible relationships where two horrible people get together, and I don't want that. How about you? So rather than how do I get lucky, how about how do I get healthy, fit and strong? What do I need to do to have a career or business that I love? What do I need to do to be financially independent, to be financially secure, financially free, to be wealthy if that's what you want? And what do I need to do to have great people in my life? Not how do I get lucky enough to have them? What do I need to do to be the kind of person that attracts great people into my life? And my big one for that is always, even if you've got nobody in your life, if you like who you are, if you have self-respect, if you have self-dignity, if you're self-educated, self-motivated, self-inspired, the people that come into your life are a bonus. They don't make you happy. They just add value to your life, not be the value in your life. And I think that's a very tough thing. If you are relying on other people to make you happy, if you're relying on other people to make you successful, it's very tough for those people because it's a big responsibility. But surely we need to be able to respond, take responsibility for our life, not rely on luck. So if you want to live your life to the max, you ready? Live your life to the max by being healthy, fit and strong, have a career or business that you love, be financially free and have great people in your life. And that is all a choice. It is a choice to live your life to the max. Super duper doo, how are you? Living my life to the max. Check out my outdoor training area. It's awesome. Fresh air, sunshine, snowy mountains. A beautiful place to train. Woohoo!